Today in Random in Psychology, we are talking about affect with an A. Affect can be thought of as our general feeling or sense of how we're feeling, so positive affect or negative affect. But we can also talk about how our affect will influence our behaviors, and we can read affect sometimes from someone's facial expressions, from body language in general. So affect also is similar probably in your brain to emotion. So in terms of a definitional difference, affect is our basic sense of feeling and it has a balance, so positive or negative, and it has different levels of arousal, such as feeling idle or feeling energized. Whereas emotion is really more of a complex state. It involves multiple feelings that can be brought together. So, for example, fear usually involves fear of a specific thing, and it involves lots of different neurological changes, anger, pleasure. So all of those have different pieces to them, whereas affect is generally seen as, positive or negative, blunted, which we'll talk about in a second. As psychologists, one of the things that we do is try to understand human behavior in terms of humans' affect, humans' behavior, and humans' cognitions. So that's one of the ways we can talk about the ABCs of psychology. Now, if we want to get into this a little bit more specifically, let's say that we are working with a client and we are assessing them in terms of how they are presenting during a session. So we may talk about their affect, the definition of which would be their instantaneous observable expressions of emotion. And we can actually talk about different types of affect. So if we have a client who comes in who seems happy, seems sad at the appropriate times, seems disappointed at the appropriate times, then this could be what we are calling broad affect. And that basically means that the person's range of affect can change based upon normal expectations. Whereas we can talk about restricted affect. This is where clients demonstrate a very narrow range of emotions. So pretty much they've got, meh and angry, and that's all they got. That would be a restricted range of affect. We could talk about blunted affect, which is pretty much having a very limited intensity of emotions, regardless of if something's really good, if something's really bad. The demonstration of that is the same. It doesn't matter. They're not going to, a client might not smile, might not look disappointed, might not look sad. It's just, there's always just the same look, regardless of how we would expect a person to feel at the time. Then we can have flat affect. Flat affect, zero emotions whatsoever. So a person with flat affect wouldn't laugh, wouldn't cry, wouldn't be happy, wouldn't be sad. And you almost start to wonder, like, are you listening? Are you paying attention to the world? Because they're not demonstrating any sort of change in mood or affect. We also have inappropriate affect. So this would be if a person laughs when other people are sad or crying, or gets angry when other people are happy. So basically, if their affect goes against the expectation of the situation, then we could say that that would be inappropriate affect. And then finally, we can talk about labile aspect or affect. And this is demonstrating wild and unexpected mood swings. So even within the course of a interview session, during an initial session with a new client, we can see them go from happy to sad, crying to laughing hysterically, things like that. So this has been our Random in Psychology for today. Our concept was affect, and come visit tomorrow and we'll see what we're talking about.